Forget the idyllic frontier life you thought you knew. For generations, Little House on the Prairie painted a picture of wholesome pioneer resilience, but beneath the sun-drenched fields and Laura Ingalls Wilder's charming prose lies a truth far grittier than sugary nostalgia allows. Prepare to confront the hidden tragedies, the brutal realities of disease, death, and desperation that lurked just beneath the surface of this beloved American classic. What if everything you believed about the Ingalls family was a carefully constructed facade? The classic work, Little House on the Prairie, first aired in 1974 and running until 1983, the series was adapted from the children's book series of the same name by author Laura Ingalls Wilder, chronicling her family's life during the American West's pioneering era in the late 19th century. Little House on the Prairie is a classic American television series that has deeply imprinted itself in the memories of generations of viewers worldwide. First aired in 1974 and running until 1983, the series was adapted from the children's book series of the same name by author Laura Ingalls Wilder, chronicling her family's life during the American West's pioneering era in the late 19th century. At the heart of the show is the Ingalls family, the gentle, strong father Charles, the capable, resourceful mother Caroline, and their three beloved daughters Mary, Laura, and Carrie, later joined by Grace and two adopted children, Albert and Cassandra. From the big woods of Wisconsin, they embark on an arduous journey in search of a promised land, finally settling in the town of Walnut Grove, Minnesota. Little House on the Prairie not only paints a picture of simple rural life, but also interweaves profound lessons about family love, resilience in overcoming hardship, compassion, and the value of education. Audiences witnessed the small joys of daily life, from abundant harvests and first days of school to moments of family togetherness. However, the show also didn't shy away from the harsh challenges the Ingalls family faced: fierce blizzards, devastating fires, rampant epidemics, or complex issues in social relationships. Through these, viewers felt the struggles and hardships of pioneer life, but at the same time saw the optimism, strong will, and solidarity of the people there. With authentic performances by Landon as Charles Ingalls and Melissa Gilbert as Laura Ingalls, along with a talented cast, Little House on the Prairie won numerous prestigious awards, including 4 Emmys. The series is not just an entertaining work, but also a cultural legacy, recalling an important historical period of the United States and conveying humanistic messages that remain relevant today. Yet were what you saw and what the actors portrayed the whole truth about their relationships? No, it did not fully reflect the truth. All will be revealed next. The dark side hidden for years. Actress Grassle, who played the mother, Caroline Ingalls, in Little House on the Prairie, has released an autobiography revealing the darker aspects of her involvement in the project. Actress Grassle is famous for her role as the gentle wife and mother, Caroline Ingalls, in the American television series Little House on the Prairie, 1974 to 1983. Despite this, her life behind the scenes was completely contrary to the image of her character, Caroline Ingalls. In the 1960s and 1970s, she led a bohemian lifestyle that garnered significant attention and commentary from entertainment news outlets and the American public. For instance, on one occasion, she was drunk on a plane and immediately felt attracted to the man sitting next to her. Upon landing, she promptly followed this newfound acquaintance back to his home. Speaking to the New York Post, Grassle, now 79 years old, admitted, "I lived very messily. My life was out of control." Now, almost 5 decades after that scandalous and gossiped-about period of a wild lifestyle, Grassle is releasing an autobiography recounting the psychological issues she faced, such as alcoholism and a perpetually unstable inner self that constantly left her on the verge of collapse. Her autobiography, Bright Lights, Prairie Dust, Reflections on Life, Loss, and Love from Little House's Ma, is set to be released this mid-November. In it, Karen Grassle shares the ups and downs of her personal life and acting career. Karen Grassle recalls her fleeting romances, 2 unplanned pregnancies, and once contracting a sexually transmitted disease. All the dark aspects of her life are recounted frankly, without concealment. Additionally, she also discusses her strained relationship with director-producer-actor Michael Landon, who played the husband and father, Charles Ingalls, in the Little House on the Prairie television series. It took me a very long time to look back at all of these things. I went against my desire for privacy when telling these stories, Karen confided. A major turning point, the role in Little House on the Prairie. Karen Grassle's father was a real estate broker who struggled with alcoholism and often contemplated suicide. Her mother, a teacher, had to live with an unstable husband, becoming tough and strict to overcome the family's difficulties. I took my mother's strong image as a prototype to play the mother in Little House on the Prairie, but my own life was very different from my mother's, Karen shared. Karen was cast as Caroline Ingalls in early 1973. It was a challenging period for her, as she had just emerged from an unhappy first marriage. Karen experienced 3 failed marriages in her life and has 1 son. Before this, Karen was primarily known in theater, and her income at the time was very modest. Both her career and personal life were unsatisfactory, leading her to succumb to alcoholism, just like her father. Being cast as the mother in Little House on the Prairie, acting alongside famous actor Michael Landon, was a major turning point in Karen's career. I was advised to wear a simple dress and no makeup for the Caroline Ingalls audition. I followed the advice, but added my own twist. In fact, the simple wool dress I wore to the audition cost a significant amount compared to my meager income back then. Although I didn't wear elaborate makeup, I did put a little emphasis on my face, Karen recalled about the most important audition of her career. Within minutes of Karen completing her audition, director-actor Michael Landon jumped up and shouted, "Get her to the costume and makeup room." Karen had enjoyable experiences during the initial parts of Little House on the Prairie. Of director Michael Landon, who also played her husband in the show, Karen initially found him to be a demanding but very talented and admirable boss. He carried the weight of the entire show on his shoulders. The hit series, Little House on the Prairie, helped Karen achieve a better income than before. But at this point, she began to doubt her own abilities and felt exhausted by the demanding filming schedule, something she was unaccustomed to, having previously only performed on stage. I turned to alcohol more and more to try and get through the difficulties, and gradually I felt my life was wrong and terrible, Karen stated. Strained relationship with the Little House on the Prairie director. Things gradually worsened when Karen Grassle began to disagree with director-actor Michael Landon over the issue of her salary. By the time filming for the second season of Little House on the Prairie began, their relationship had become strained. Michael Landon refused to increase her pay. Gradually, Karen's scenes as the mother in the show were cut back, and the character no longer had much screen time. According to Karen, Michael Landon often made her the target of jokes on set. When reviewing filmed scenes, he would often mock her gestures and expressions, making the entire crew laugh. Also, according to Karen's autobiography, Michael Landon's language towards her became increasingly excessive and vulgar over time. These incidents often occurred when Karen and Michael were filming scenes in the bedroom, during which the male crew members would tease him. Michael Landon's often crude remarks reportedly made Karen very embarrassed. I was stunned, but as an actress who had been working since the 1970s, I was very familiar with these kinds of everyday occurrences, so I didn't react violently. What devastated Karen's life? During her nearly decade-long involvement with Little House on the Prairie, alcoholism severely impacted Karen Grassle's health and mental state. Her decision to follow a man she had just met on a plane back to his home was a direct consequence of her mind frequently being clouded during that period. Karen's numerous failed relationships were partly because she couldn't resist unsuitable men. I never made good judgments when choosing partners. I'm quite simple and easygoing, and I often lived in a state of despair and intoxication. I have to admit that the men who passed through my life also had many chaotic issues in their own lives. In the mid-1970s, Karen betrayed her then-fiancé to enter into a fleeting affair with supporting actor Gilbert, who had a small role in Little House on the Prairie. Later, Karen was shocked when her lover contacted her to inform her that he might have given her gonorrhea. Karen shared that during her time on Little House on the Prairie, she often arrived on set feeling exhausted from frequent intoxication. She frequently had to ask makeup artists for help to conceal the signs of dishevelment on her face. Gradually, she understood that she needed to quit drinking and protect her image to be worthy of the role of Caroline in Goals, the role that had brought her public recognition and affection. I never realized that my true desires were for stability in life, a responsible husband, and children to love. I didn't know that I also wished for the things that the character Caroline Ingalls had. By 1977, Karen was determined to quit alcohol. Her salary for acting in Little House on the Prairie was also doubled. Good things began to happen in her life, and she decided to reconcile with director-actor Landon. I'm so glad we were able to reconcile and mend our relationship after everything. The actor-director of Little House on the Prairie, Landon, later passed away from pancreatic cancer in 1991 at the age of 54. Little House on the Prairie, a timeless legacy. Though long concluded, Little House on the Prairie still holds a special, warm place in the hearts of millions of viewers worldwide. More than just a simple TV show, this work has become a part of many generations' childhood memories, a symbol of resilience, compassion, and warm family affection. Perhaps the enduring appeal of Little House on the Prairie lies in its ability to transport us back to fundamental, simple, yet incredibly precious values. In our busy modern lives, full of worries and complexities, the story of the Ingalls family feels like a breath of fresh air, reminding us of the importance of home, of shared meals, of neighborly kindness, and of gratitude for the little things. Each episode is not just a story, but also a life lesson conveyed gently and subtly. It's a lesson about optimism in the face of hardship, about forgiveness in conflict, or about the unwavering will to strive, no matter how harsh life becomes. The show also evokes a longing for a bygone era when people lived close to nature, when the values of labor and self-sufficiency were highly regarded. The images of Charles Ingalls diligently working in the fields, Caroline tirelessly tending the hearth, or Laura and Mary frolicking in the green prairies are deeply etched in viewers' minds, becoming symbols of a peaceful, free life. So, for those who grew up with the Ingalls family, what makes you still love this show so much after all these years? Which character left the strongest impression on you and why? Do you remember any moment in the show that made you cry, or a saying from Charles, Caroline, or Laura that became a guiding principle for your life? And are the values of family, community, perseverance, and compassion conveyed by Little House on the Prairie still relevant, perhaps even more necessary than ever in our volatile modern lives? Please share your feelings, cherished memories, and thoughts about this classic film. If you love it or have any content you're interested in, don't hesitate to comment